First of all, if you need medication of any kind, you better go out and buy all the medicines you can get, because in a few months they won't be available, because the petroleum industry has a big role to play in the production of pharmaceuticals. So that's my first piece of advice. And secondly, start thinking in terms of storing food and any other items that you think you may need, because as this war continues, and it's going to continue, the impact that I talked about earlier is going to be felt here. There is no evidence that anybody in Tehran is going to pop up on the phone, call President Trump and say, oh, we're so sorry, we surrender, we'll do whatever the Israelis want us to do, because that's really what it's all about. Now, we have other interests. We think we're harming China. I don't know what the Chinese will do, but I think the Chinese over the next few weeks, they're going to surprise everybody by what they may be willing to do. I don't know if the Chinese will fly some aircraft into the airspace over Iran and essentially tell us, look, we've had enough, stop, or we'll go to war. Maybe the Russians will do something similar. Who knows? There are any number of things that they could do to signal, that's it, we've had it. But in the meantime, I think you just need to prepare for the worst here. And once the stock market figures out, or the investors, the people in New York that run the financial system, who are largely part of the problem for us, they're going to say, oh my God, and you're going to watch the stock market tank, and you're going to watch the cost of a barrel of oil go up to 200 and potentially all the way to 3. And all of that is going to bring everything inside the United States to a screeching halt.
Experts are now warning that the United States is possibly 2 weeks away from a massive supply chain crisis, a huge disruption. You need to be well aware of what is going to take place in just a matter of weeks. And this is extremely concerning. This is going to impact your wallet. This is also going to impact your life. I'll explain more on that in just a moment. But you need to see what people are warning us about. Look at this. It says supply chain disruptions from the Iran war could raise prices for drugs, electronics, and more. Now, where do we go from here? And why? Why is all this happening at this time? Well, let's talk about it. It says the Iran war has effectively halted oil tanker movement in the key Strait of Hormuz, but it's also disrupting the wider global supply chain beyond oil, affecting everything from pharmaceuticals from India, semiconductors from Asia, and oil-derived products like fertilizers that come from the Middle East. I talked about this last week, and I said the food crisis is serious because of the cost of fertilizer. That's it. Fertilizer. I have a friend. He runs a small farm, well, fairly big, but it's small in his eyes. It's a small farm in California, or a ranch, or whatever you want to call it. He does a lot of different things, from cattle, and he grows some vegetables and stuff like that. One of the things he said is, as gas prices shoot up, well, it becomes more expensive for him to go and farm. It's also more expensive very soon because of fertilizer costs. Once he has to renew and re-up his fertilizer supply, it's going to be a massive shock to his wallet. Guess what? He's going to push that over to the consumer. So be prepared. Prices will go up. I want to show you this, though.
It's just going to get worse now.
When these supply chain interruptions happen, most products have about 2 to 3 weeks worth of supply in storage before running into supply issues at local stores. After that, prices typically shoot up. For these oil-producing countries in the Middle East, they fill their storage tanks in about 3 weeks too, which means they'll stop producing oil if they can't export it.
That's one of the biggest concerns, okay? If these oil companies, especially OPEC, and I'm going to play you another video in just a moment, okay? But I want to show you something. It says the Iran-U.S. war chokes key shipping lane and threatens global cargo industry. It's because of this area here. The OPEC nations around the Strait of Hormuz. I want to play some for you. Listen to this right here.
The conflict is also disrupting the wider global supply chain beyond oil. It's affecting everything from pharmaceuticals from India, semiconductors and batteries from Asia, and oil-derived products like fertilizer that come from the Middle East. That's because cargo ships are stuck in the Persian Gulf, or they're taking a much longer detour around the southern tip of Africa.
What we have seen in the past is when we experience stuff like this, where a cargo ship has to take a longer route to get over to the United States, when it has to take a longer route in order to get to Europe or wherever, right? Doesn't matter. The concern is that it costs more money. And everybody's worried about the money side. But there's a bigger thing here, okay? And I'm going to explain that in a moment. But first, I want to play this clip for you, okay? Listen to this right here, and then we're going to talk about it.
Qatar's energy minister telling the Financial Times that if tankers continue to idle in the Strait of Hormuz because it's just too dangerous to maneuver through the critical choke point right now, exporters will be forced to halt energy production within days, and oil prices could spike to $150 a barrel.
$150 a barrel. Now, here's the concern. So, if oil can't move, producers will stop pumping it, tankers will stop shipping it, the refineries will slow production, they don't need to refine as much, and then factories are going to lose energy, they're going to lose raw materials, and we're going to see this kind of cascading effect. That's going to hit not just the oil industry, everybody else. We use oil in everything. Everything. Oil's needed to produce cell phones. Oil's needed for your vehicles. Oil's needed for our homes to keep them, warm and cool, and right? It's just ridiculous. Here's what experts say. This is where it's going to hit us hard. Okay? Here are the industries that will get hit first. Energy's number one. Gas, diesel, heating fuel, all becomes more expensive, or it's limited. Food, fertilizer becomes more expensive. Farm fuel, more expensive. Transporting that food from the farm to the supplier becomes more expensive. Much more expensive. Manufacturing, plastics, car parts, electronics, we use oil for this. We also ship certain pieces from one country to another in order to put the whole piece together. Become more expensive. Again, if we cannot charge a higher price, a higher premium for a product, guess what? We have to wait till costs come down so that we can actually afford it. We can actually sell something that people will buy. If we have to wait so long, there will be supply chain disruptions. Keep in mind what happened during the pandemic. We could see that all happen again. The supply chain disruptions were one of the greatest factors in this really run-up for inflation. We saw over 9% inflation because of two things: supply chain disruptions and a massive stimulus that we got here in the United States. But it doesn't end there. Furniture, clothing, appliances all become more expensive. Pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, plastics, right? Anything with plastic, hospital equipment, all becomes more expensive. Okay? I want to play the rest of this clip for you. Listen to this.
Again, right now here in the U.S., they're $91 a barrel. But let's bring in Paul Sankey, president of Sankey Research and considered one of the top oil and energy analysts in the country. Paul, as we take a look at the map of the Persian Gulf, there are 5